Good morning. It's Jean Brittingham at Kept in Stitches. Welcome everyone. It is Sunday and that means it is time for my week in review. So come on into the Stitching Cottage and let's see what I got accomplished this week. This week has been a very interesting week here in the Stitching Cottage, and we'll get into that a little bit as we go along. But first of all, let me share with you what I have been able to do while I was in the Stitching Cottage this week, and some of it also shared with you in some stitch alongs, crochet along, that type of thing. So let's get started. First of all, for the those of you that have been doing the embroidery stitch of the week, our stitch this week, and we'll unfold that a little bit farther, was the chain stitch. So this is the sample of the chain stitch right here, these rows going on down in the turquoise, pink, and yellow variegated Valdani threads. That is what our stitch of the week was, and I have it completed in my section for week number 2. Also, you may remember that there wasn't anything done in the stem stitch portion down here, that I said I was going to do some other things other than just the straight areas of the stem stitch. So I did draw some different stems, and I'm doing various ways of showing how the stem stitch can be used on a stem and also filling in the stem. We'll get that a little closer there. Maybe you can see the stitching there better of where it filled in this stem right here, and I have those to go yet. But that is the embroidery stitch of the week, stitch along, that we do on Fridays during my live. So that is what was completed in that. And then we also have our crochet stitch of the week, and that, excuse me, there's a little knot, of course, in the way in there. But our stitch of the week this week made the ridges that you can see on here, because our stitch of the week was half double crochet in the third loop or back loop. It can be referred to as either one. But when you do that, it makes this nice raised stitch, kind of knit looking design on the front side, or whichever side you are doing that stitch on. We are doing it on the right side only, so that it shows up that way. So we did one row of the right, oops, my finger is not showing. We did our first row of the half double crochet in the third loop right here. Then we did a row of just half double crochet, because that was on the wrong side. And then on the right side, we did another row of the half double crochet in the third loop. And to make sure that we're ready to go for the next week, we are ending there, so that we will end on the right side for our next stitch. So that was the crochet stitch of the week. And with that, we'll go into a little explanation of, like I said, it was a very interesting week here in the Stitching Cottage this week, because last Saturday I started with just a little kink in my neck, you know, to where you have that little problem turning it one direction, kind of like you slept on it wrong, which, you know, a lot of times can be what causes that. But on Sunday, it was worse. On Monday, it was really bad. On Tuesday, it was to the point that I had to cancel doing my tip demo Tuesday. And then on Wednesday morning, I was not able to get out of bed on my own. I was not able to walk very well on my own, and I was not able to sit down and get up on my own because of the excruciating pain that now only wasn't in my neck, but it was up in my head, all the way down my neck, and all the way down to below my shoulders and affecting my back. So I did end up having to go to the VA emergency department, and through some CT scans and such, was given some injections, some medication, strong medication to come home on. As you can see, I am able to move my head now. I still am in pain, but hey, I live with pain, so what's another day of that, as long as I can keep it to a controllable functioning, level. But it was quite comical actually it was on Friday, because it was during my 3-hour live where we do the embroidery stitch of the week and we do the crochet stitch of the week, that at some point during that, many of you that were on there with me knew, okay, and could tell that I was having a problem with pain and trying to work through it. But the medications kicked in a way of which you think you're functioning, but you find out you're not really functioning quite correctly. And I was having a real problem on that half double crochet in the third loop that I do all the time. I mean, I can do it without even thinking about it, without even looking at it, just by feel. And I was not able to get that stitch to work right. Going through the whole entire first row, having a real problem with working that. Well, by the time that I turned and did the second row, my mind kind of clicked and I discovered what I was doing wrong, and I was able to do that row correctly. But, I hope that those of you that were on that live have forgiven me, have realized there were quite some times that medication kind of overtook in that live and not me. Thus, another episode of while we were working along and I was looking for my needle. This is quite funny because I was looking for my needle and said, "Where is my needle?" I was holding it in my hand in the needle threader, getting ready to thread it, which I was, had the thread ready to thread it, and I'm looking around wondering, where is my needle? All the while it was in my hand. I even set it down out of my hand to feel and look for where I may have misplaced my needle. So things like that do happen, and I know that those of you that are my loyal subscribers and follow along understand that. We had a few good laughs in the chat and that type of thing and went on, but that was quite a day, quite a week in the Stitching Cottage, and I am hoping that this coming week is a lot better. I am getting better. I will be going off the meds that I am on soon. I think I have 3 or 4 days left and I will be done with those. So hopefully back to normal and a much better week and a better productive week. But enough of that, and let's go on to what else was accomplished in the cottage this week. And the next thing was, let me check. Oh, and that reminds me, because I did have to cancel the Tip Demo Tuesday, which was going to be a demonstration with some tips and techniques on how to make flying geese units, because I have been asked to show that. I will be doing that this coming Tuesday instead, which I believe is Tuesday, July 18th. So that you should be able to look forward to in this Tip Demo Tuesday instead. And I apologize for having to cancel that. The next thing that I was able to work on, and some of you know that this is a personal project that I am doing along with a couple friends here in the cottage. And there were some of you that saw by me showing, of course, what I'm going to be working on in my week in review. That said, a couple of you had the pattern and haven't done it yet and said, oh, you would love to sew along with us. And also some of you asked about how to get the pattern, got the pattern, and want to sew along also. So this is an informal sew along. It is not a structured one. It is not a teaching sew along. But for those of you that want to sew along, I will from time to time during my lives on either Monday or Friday. And during those times be working on this, giving some tips and techniques, showing what I'm doing as we go along. And if there are questions and stuff, I will try to answer what I can and help you in any way that I can. But we'll be sharing that work as I work on it. But I did get all the panels traced and also have the shape flex on the back of them. So they are all ready to be stitched. And there are 3 of those, as you know. There is 3 sections in the middle with the patchwork around it, which again, this is what the pattern looks like. And I was able to actually start late last night working on the top panel. And excuse my needle minder up there with the thread hanging down, but that's keeping that place. I was able to start and got some of the stitching done on that tree. So it is started, and I will be hopefully working on that each week and getting further and further along and sharing that with you. So that is over the river and through the woods, and what I was able to accomplish on that this week. Then the next thing that I was working on this week was this slow stitch project that I'm doing. It's a rather large slow stitch project, which will roll that up so you can, if I stand back, there you can see the entire thing. But I had set it aside, wasn't able to work on it for a while, and you know, when I was having some pain issues and that, sometimes something like this is a lot easier to sit in a comfortable chair and work on. And also it is very therapeutic in being able for me to work on, still have my hands busy doing what I love and take my mind off the pain that I was experiencing. So I did work on this, got a lot of the echo quilting in big stitch done that I was doing around the stem and leaves there. Also did around the petals of the flowers and around the little patches that are on there. And then for some filler in the background, I decided to do some curved lines so that it would kind of look like, okay, the sky up there in the top. And as we got to the bottom, it turned to, which you can't really tell the color, but it does turn to a green thread there on the bottom instead. And I got all that completed. So then I went on, and this is where sometimes when people think I am certifiably crazy, which is the name of a pattern my sister had me pick up, I decided that I am going to, and this is really hard to see, but right here, I think you can see that there is stitching there. And that is actual embroidery, hand thread painting of where I am doing the shading on all the roses, the flowers, and the leaves on here. And I was able to get that portion done working on that. So that's going to take a little bit longer than planned because of going into the detail and working on that. And then it will be almost completed. So my question for you this week, and I would like you to answer in the comments, is what idea or what do you think I should do with this to complete it, finishing when it is done? You know, should I frame it? Should I do something to make it into a wall hanging? Or should I incorporate it into the center of a quilt somehow? Whatever ideas you may have, let me know what you think I should do with this slow stitch project to make it a finished, completed project to then display. Give those comments, give those answers that you have for me, suggestions in the comments in below this video. Also, if you haven't already, don't forget to give a thumbs up to this video also. And if you haven't subscribed and you do enjoy seeing what I do throughout the week and my lives during the week, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so that you will get notified when I go live and when I upload new video content. So thank you very much if you're already a subscriber, and if you do subscribe, I totally appreciate that. Love to be able to share with as many as I can that enjoy some of the same things that I do. Okay, so that business is taken care of. One of the other things that I have been working on is The Long Time Gone by Jen Kingwell. I was not able to really work on that this week, and this is the best photo I have. This is the quilt itself. As you can see, there is a lot to that and a lot of small pieces. So there are still, I'm working on the pineapple paper pieced blocks right now. These are 5-inch finished blocks. I need to make 16 of them. I only have the one done, but this box is all strips that I did get cut and ready to do the paper piecing on that. So I was able to get that part completed and finished. And then so that will be being worked on coming up. Over the River and Through the Woods will be things that I'm working on a continued basis in the upcoming weeks. So to look forward to that. And one of the things that of course happened to all of us quilters as we are in our sewing rooms, our craft spaces, or if we have a separate studio or stitching cottage in a separate area, some of us that are lucky enough to have that, our husbands tend to come out and hand us things from time to time and say, can you do this? So yes, this coming week I have a shirt that my husband is wanting me to remove the sleeves from, and turn it into a sleeveless t-shirt instead. So some of the things that go on that, yes, isn't really quilting or stitching, but we have to take care of our families and keep them happy from time to time too. So that will be going on in the stitching cottage, probably either later today or the early part of this week. And also, of course, there is always the time dedicated to if I get anything in the mail. And I apologize because I did forget to mention that I did receive this beautiful card. An old, like antique photo of a girl in the long days gone by working on some hand embroidery work. Beautiful, beautiful card. And of course, a nice note on the back. And that is, we won't say who it's from. She knows who she is, and I appreciate it very, very, very much. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And also included in that was this Summer Loving mini cross stitch pattern. Oops, we'll hold it. If I hold it still, you'll be able to see it. But that is a cute little cross stitch, and I am going to pull that out today, get the threads ready and set it up so I can start working on that. So thank you very, very, very much. And very nice sentiment, and I appreciate it. Thank you. And then also I received month 6 of the tea towel embroidery of the month that I get from Granny's Legacy, and that link has been in previous videos, but this is the dish towel for this month. I believe that is Hollyhocks. Yep, Hollyhock Sisters is what it is called. So that is the tea towel embroidery stitch of the month that I received. And I need to get caught up in those too. Behind in many things, but aren't most of us quilters and stitchers? We have way more projects than we have time. So that was also going to share with you. And yes, there is one thing behind me that I forgot I did and was able to work just a little bit this is heavy, on my husband's retirement quilt that you have seen before. So I did work on that, did get some more stitching, hand stitching done on that also this week as I sat and relaxed in the chair there. One of the things that I really want to accomplish this week in my organization things that I do is I have been working, of course, on the Slow Stitch project and some other projects that use my Valdani and pearl cotton that I use for embroidery on certain things. And I have quite a collection, which I'm going to try and share with you. I have 4 of these containers that are almost full of Valdani threads. And then I also have, excuse me, sorry, I also have this little box full. I have this container full. And then this, yes, this one is ones that I have pulled while I've been working on projects and aren't in anything in the order that they were taken out of and need to be put back. So I am going to actually go through, figure out a really good system for myself, inventory my threads first of all so I know exactly what I have and can look that up quickly, and where they are located by box number and that, so I don't have to be looking in all of them to find the one color or whatever that I want when I am pulling them out. So I am going to be going through and hopefully this week doing a inventory system, organizing all of those threads. So those are my plans for the upcoming week. Also working on some block of the months that I do in other groups and an online guild. So there you have it. That is what has been going on in the Stitching Cottage this past week. Some of my plans for the upcoming week or two and a few more. I hope that you have enjoyed, maybe been inspired with some of the things that you have seen, and will join me next week for my week in review, and also Mondays when I go live in the morning from 11 until noon. That is an informal little morning stitch and chat where we just relax with a cup of coffee. I'll be working on some type of stitching and just checking in with all of you and what you are working on and share some things that way. Then of course on Tuesday is my Tip Demo Tuesday. That is always a recorded video that you will see dropped randomly at some time on Tuesday. There's never any specific time that it is done, just whenever it is done, completed, and I have time to upload it. So that is on Tuesdays. Then on Fridays, I also do a longer version in a new format of a stitch and chat, and it is in the form of a stitching quilting bee, and that is when we do our embroidery stitch of the week, the crochet stitch of the week. There is a block of the month that we do that on the first Friday of each month, and other things that may be working on throughout and throwing in there from time to time and sharing and adding some tips and everything like that. So that is my normal schedule. Of course, always times that I may throw something extra in, but if you are subscribed and have the notification set, it will notify you when I do that. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a lovely Sunday and a beautiful week to come, and that my week is much better than this past week. Thanks, everybody. Take care and happy stitching. And in the meantime, remember, I can keep you in stitches. Bye-bye, everyone.